Yes, it's the late night lock-in. What's going on? I'm Ben. This guy here is. We get this right one day or 1 week.
That way. Wait.
No, that way. No, that's my door. It never works, does it? I mean, it never works. This is late night lock-in. This is basically where me and Joe for an hour get to have some fun and chat about United and chat some crap as well. Which, by the way, Joe, talking about chatting some crap, you got some attention on social media after the West Brom game, didn't you?
I did, because there's something about stating facts, which apparently a large portion of the internet gets very upset about.
What was your fact?
My facts were, okay, they weren't outlandish. I didn't come on and say the moon is made out of cheese. I didn't come on saying Alex Ferguson isn't the greatest manager who ever lived. All I said is that Martial isn't the best player this season. I did say he was our worst player, but I didn't mean, and people are saying, oh, what about Phil Jones? What about Marcus Rojo? I meant like players that are actually supposed to be performing and, playing games this season. Somebody who's supposed to be our best. And Martial hasn't been the best player at the club, and he's probably been, for his standard, maybe a bit not as good as that. And suddenly I'm a pariah. I'm a Liverpool fan in disguise, seemingly, by some fans across the media. I am just bringing my own opinion, how wrong it might be, to the world, and then ye come at me. And people did come at me, to be fair. They came at me loud and in numbers.
So if you want to come in at Joe tonight, get in the live chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we are looking for the late night lock-in crew. So get in there, get your comments in as we chat, get involved with the discussion. We're basically going to be here every Monday and Friday to make your day a little bit better. We're going to be chatting a little bit about United. We're going to be chatting about footballing stuff. We're going to be talking to authors. We're going to be talking to journalists, historians, people who we love having on the channel, podcasters. It's going to be an array of fun. And at the end of the show, Joe gets to pitch them up against each other in his ultimate Manchester United fan quiz, of which one of his questions today, by the way, it just had me. It had we went so deep on one of the questions. We'll tell you what it is later on, but it's really cool. So stick with us. That's coming up towards the end of the show a bit later on, around about 50 minutes towards the end, so 11:15. We're going to be chatting VAR at around about 10:30. We're going to be talking a little bit about the guest first Manchester United experiences. It's basically one of those where Joe's going to put 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to ask the guys some one-word questions which have one-word answers, and we'll see what they say. We'll really put them on the spot, and we're also going to talk about winning. Are we losing sight of what's most important in football at the moment, and winning? What do you think, Joe?
Oh God, I can't believe how far it's kind of fallen. Like, the most important thing in football, in anything, is to win. Okay. Ideally, you want to win with a bit of style. But I have people coming at me, all right? And I've been chatting with people who have been like, I would have been happier to have drawn 3-3 against West Brom than beating them 1-0 the way we did. And I'm like, are you insane? Are you like completely mad? Why would you give up a victory just to have a dramatic draw? That's insanity. No one wants. I don't understand how anyone would want that. Like, other than just, like, fine, a neutral. I want to see a 3-3 draw. Yeah, not with United. I would take that mayhem that happened on Saturday every day of the week over a barnstormer 3-3 neutral draw. Not happening. Not for me. But that's seemingly the way the world's going, is just to oh, hey, Suzanne. It's gotten that bad that they just want entertainment over anything else. And that's just the modern world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brendan's already jumped in saying fans being angry about other fans being critical is quite hypercritical. Most fans constantly slag off certain players. Yeah, but then again, it's like, well, you can't have an opinion now on a certain player without having an agenda. So it's like, well, wait a second. What about the fans who don't have a 10 out of 10 footballing IQ, but can comment on what they say on the pitch? And then after each game, they give an irrational thought about what they thought of an individual player, and whether there's some hysteria about that player or not, who knows? It's just a fan giving a fan's opinion. It's one of those. Anyway, we're going to jump into the guys with that and see what they think. Jacob's on. Jacob's already filled out an essay in a live chat, which I absolutely love. So Jacob, Suzanne, Brendan, welcome to the late night lock-in. It's great to have you guys with us. And of course, if you're watching now on any other platform that isn't YouTube, come over to YouTube, youtube.com/all4united. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you get involved with the show. Right. Joe, I'm going to introduce our guests, and it's a wicked panel we've got this evening.
I can't wait.
On the show tonight, author John Silk is with us. John, let me draw in here. Welcome to the show, mate. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Listening to you guys chewing the fat. So, yeah, I have a lot to say, of course. I'm an author, I'm a journalist. So, of course, I have a lot to say on the matter. But, yeah, and I'm good. I'm doing good. Happy that we got 3 points at home at last.
We're not trying to chew too much fat so that you can't jump into it as well, mate. So we're going to keep some of that fat for you to chew on in just a moment, because we can't wait to hear your thoughts. But look, John, you've got a book that has just come out, Even the Defeats, how Sir Alex Ferguson used to set back to inspire Manchester United's greatest triumph. So if you could, first question to you, can you tell us briefly about why you chose to write this book on one of our greatest managers?
Well, principally, I'm a Man United fan, and so I have been for almost 40 years. And so what that meant was that a little bit less research was necessary, because, this is our lives that we're talking about. And if any of us are going to write a book, the first book we're going to probably write about would be football. And obviously for me, it was just a piece of cake to write about Man United. With my book, of course, it was a lot about what to leave out rather than what to put in. Whereas if I asked you to write a book about the history of Ecuador, it could be a little bit more tricky. I mean, if it was the history of Ecuador, the first line would include Antonio Valencia, that's for sure. So,
of course.
So, in fact, they probably
is the only
Antonio Valencia.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the only place that he is actually called the greatest of all time.
As well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
true that.
So that's the main reason. But then the nature of the book really is, even the defeats, the title. It's because as a fan, I think even when you're a fan of the most successful clubs during the most successful times, as we were for most of Ferguson's time at the club, I don't know, the defeats are as memorable for many of us as the victories. I think the big fans, we remember losing the title in '92 to Leeds, that horrible run-in that we had, and losing at Anfield. We remember '95 missing out to Blackburn. We remember '98 Arsenal. We remember the Champions League defeats early on in the Ferguson era, whether it be Galatasaray in the second round in '93, or the quarterfinals and semi-finals defeats. So this topic about losing, I was obsessed with what Ferguson had to say as well, and what Ferguson's remedy was, particularly in the second half of his tenure at the club, when we trusted him so much. So I think those are the main things. And then every time I looked at the setbacks or the defeats, I could see a relationship between defeat and victory. So it could be losing the league to Leeds in '92 and then winning the title a year later. And this would go all the way through, from the European defeats of '93, '94, '95, all the way through to winning it in '99. And again from 2000 to 2008, the Champions League. Or all the way to the end of Ferguson's time at the club, and his last season was built on the ashes of defeat from the season before. So every time I saw this relationship. And so therefore, in a way, the book was just easy to write in a way. And I guess the final piece of my jigsaw, if you like, Ferguson would often talk about the final piece of the jigsaw. And the final piece of my jigsaw was simply finding a publisher that thought as much of the book as I did. And so once that happened, here we go.
Yeah,
I was going to say amazing, and we're definitely going to have to dig into that whole mindset and how that's changed now, because I do think that mindset has changed quite a lot. And I think in the conversation we're just about to have, you can reflect on pieces that you found out from the book as well, and as a fan too, and we can dig deeper. But let's introduce our second guest. Joe, you love this guy. If I could say, give us one word to big him up before he comes on, what would that word be?
Semps.
Well, there we go. I mean, I don't know if that's in the dictionary or not, but it is Semps, our boy from Views TV, podcaster, all for United contributor. This guy's an absolute legend, and he talks in only facts. Semps, thank you for jumping on tonight, mate.
Yeah, you're right, guys.
Great, love it.
Thank you very much.
Semps, I have to ask you, how's your mum?
My mom is good.
Yeah. Good, because every single time I try to get Semps onto his show, he's like, sorry, bro, I have to help my mum with this. I have to help my mum with that. He's a good boy. He's a good boy,
It's good you didn't ask me on Sunday as well, because I was busy running errands for her on Sunday as well. So yeah, I'm the first boy of three, so I'm quite close. So I have to do my eldest son duties.
I was going to say, not only does Semps put us to shame as football fans when he talks, he puts us to shame as well when it comes to being good sons as well. By the sound of it, I hope my mum doesn't watch this show.
Yeah, I am the eldest boy in my family as well, and my mom's happiest when I'm not in the house. Or I'm not around. Like that's her mother. My Mother's Day's present to her is generally I leave the country for a week or so, and just give her a little bit of respite, and then I come back and we're all fresh and we're all happy.
So you're the trouble one then, Joe. Yeah,
I am the trouble. I am the black sheep. I am. Yeah.
Semps, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Anyway, look, John there. He's obviously got a book out now all about Sir Alex. So I wanted to ask you, Semps, for your first question. If you were to write a book on one figure within football, who would it be? Who intrigues you the most that you'd want to find out more and write about them?
Well, it sort of goes quite alongside what John's done with his book in terms of writing about Sir Alex Ferguson. Is about winning and winners. So I would go with Cristiano Ronaldo personally. For me, one of my goals is to interview footballers, because what I want to do is help younger footballers coming up try and understand what it takes to become a footballer. And I think somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo would be a great case study, because we all remember him when he came to United. He was the flashy kid, the skills and everything. But when you see him then to what he is now, that is pure work and determination that has got him to where he is. There's so many footballers that's come and gone that has the sheer talent, but they don't quite match up and fulfill their potential. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo is somebody who's worked on his game and has a winner's mentality, a winner's mindset. And I would just like to really dig deep into finding out what makes him tick, what keeps him going to keep trying to be the best over and over and over again. I've managed to listen to an interview with him and Piers Morgan once, which, I'm not Piers' biggest fan, but I thought it was a brilliant interview that he conducted with Ronaldo, and had Ronaldo, result into tears at one point. And that's the sort of guy that you can see Ronaldo is. He's a humble person. He's a family person. And yeah, I think somebody like him would be a great case study. And I'll just be intrigued to just have a conversation with him to just find out about his journey and what makes him tick, to be honest.
What about you, Joe? Same question to you. If you could write a book on any famous Irish footballers, which one would it be? Would it be Declan Rice on how he turned you down? Would it be
Benjamin? This is why your mother doesn't love you, okay?
Wow, he took it there.
Oh, blimey. Well, show number one, mate.
Yeah, this is what happens when you bring up heartbreak, okay? Declan Rice. I shared today, there's Dublin bus, obviously based in Dublin. Like, they're so out of date that on the side of the bus is still Declan Rice in an Irish jersey promoting JD Sport. Like, he played for Ireland 3 times 2 years ago. And you think the one thing they'd update is that. He's not even Irish anymore. Anymore, yeah. We had a brief window where he was great. He got man of the match with Young Player of the Year, but after that, he's suddenly British. Anyway, thanks for making me cry. I've been thinking about this all day of who would be the most, for me, the best person to interview or to write a book about. And I have Keano's books. I haven't read them. I mean to, but they're sitting there staring at me, but I'm too afraid to read them, to be honest, with that stare. But I was trying to go through history, and I think someone I'd love to get really in-depth chat with Bobby Charlton, because everything he went through 1958 and after, because I remember after Jack Charlton passed away, which was a couple of months ago, because obviously Jack Charlton is an Irish legend. They spoke a lot about Jack Charlton and Bobby's relationship, and how they were really close growing up, how Jack was basically his father, because Jack and Bobby's actual father went to the mines, so Jack was basically there to raise him. But then after 58, just Bobby changed completely. But he's of that ilk and of that age that everything it's kind of a closed shop. And if there's any books that are out there, it's all surface level. So I'd love to actually, if I was able to, which it'll never happen in any capacity, just be able to speak in depthly of the life he's had, the greatest English player who's ever lived, World Cup winner, 58, winning the European Cup, the Mr. Manchester, and always humble as ever. But I'd loved to, in some way, in the same sort of thing as Semps, but for a lot of different background things, I think Bobby Charlton would be the most interesting person to get a lot of information out of.
The world needs another book about Cantona. Of course, we can never not have enough books about Cantona. Do you know who mine is? I'm going to go slightly away from United because he popped up again over the weekend. I would love to dig in deeper to the mind and the life of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because the guy is an anomaly, like completely. Like the way he went to the MLS and he was done, he was broken, couldn't do anything else. Yeah. And how he's come out the MLS and absolutely transformed his career, and he's got more to give as well. Yeah. I think he's an amazing character. I'd love to sit down with him and do a book on him. Charlie as well, welcome to the Late Night Locking Club, mate. Come over to the YouTube channel if you want as well, youtube.com/all4united. I wish Zlatan stayed. I'll tell you what, he is a fantastic footballer and a role model as well. But look, we've got to move on. Feel free to get in, players who you'd love to write a book on. I'd love to hear who inspires you guys. Get it in the live chat. But I want to talk about the importance of winning, because obviously we're talking there, John, a little bit about your book, and Sir Alex's winning mentality is obviously, the part of the core subject of your book. The games that we won 1-0, the games that we won by 1 goal, winning ugly, often is the way that title races are decided, John. So what do you make now of the outpour on social media when teams win ugly and it's all about the performance? What do you make of that, John?
Yeah, I mean, what we need to talk about is obviously specifically Saturday, which is the lead into this question, I suppose, and the nature of the victory, if you like. I mean, what I think we can forget is how often that did occur under the Sir Alex era. That there were many ugly wins and very many 1-0 wins on the way to winning titles, such as 95, 96. At the end of that season, a series of 1-0 wins, culminating in the Cantona winning goal in the cup final. So, this has been an element of the club. The problem that Solskjaer has is that he doesn't have the background of success that by 96 Ferguson had, or in 07, 08 at the beginning of that season, we had a load of 1-0 wins. I mean, if you have 10 or 15 years of success, and then you have some 1-0 victories, and you can also show that those 1-0 victories led towards a title or a double or a Champions League, then fine. What Solskjaer has is 2 years of mixed performances, 1 step forward, 1 step back. And so Saturday's performance can then be shown in a slightly different light.
I was muted then, sorry about that. I do see where you're coming from. I completely understand that. Obviously, you need to be able to build wins, and you need to be able to build a winning mentality to be able to win ugly. But Semps, I'll come over to you. Like, I don't want to make this an Ollie in or an Ollie out show, but sort of my views on this is, look, I feel like you need to win or have a consistent run or be able to formulate some kind of success before you can actually create a system or create a style of play or solidify your touch on a team potentially. So when you see us play like yesterday, is the first thing that comes to mind for you like, yes, we've just won the game, or is it's more question marks about the way we play football? Where's your head at, Semps?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It wasn't, we got 3 points. It was more along the lines of we need to see improvements. And I just want to just elaborate on the point I'm trying to make here is that I totally understand and agree that obviously 3 points is what matters, because 3 points is what's going to get you up the table. But where we was before under Fergie, when we used to have those type of performances, is we already knew that we had the groundwork already laid out. We already done the groundwork. We know that we could go these games of grinding out results, but then we've got the good performances to keep it going. Basically, what I'm saying is at the moment, these performances, they're not sustainable. We've all heard of the term, a great team is when they're playing poorly and still grinding out results. At the moment, we know that we're not a great team. So when we're doing this grinding out results, all that's going to happen is it's going to catch us up later on down the line if we don't start to turn our performances into better ones. Because, we're 8 games in now. We're 8 games in, and, Everton, to me, Everton seems like the only game where I can say that we actually performed well. We didn't perform well against Brighton. We won that game. Everton to me, and that's not good enough, and that's not going to be sustainable throughout the whole season. So that's why, for me, we need to start to see better performances, because when you start to see better performances, even if you drop points, longer term, better performances will start to equal better results.
Yeah, Suzanne says a win is a win.
If you look at the Premier League alone, we've only played well once since we beat Bournemouth at home, since we thrashed Bournemouth at home just after the restart. Okay, we haven't really played well in the Premier League. Forget the Champions League. We haven't played well, with the exception of probably Everton away, in 10, 15 games. You could look at the last 5 or 6 of last season as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, so is this Joe? Is this again, like, I don't want to go back in on the manager or so to speak, the philosophy, or however we want to go about it. But is this a managerial thing, or are we just in this weird world at the moment with COVID, where I think actually quite a few managers are struggling to get consistent performances out of their teams at the moment in the league?
Yeah, no, because if you like, it's to be honest, maybe I'm trying to give Solskjaer the benefit of the doubt, because if you look 5 miles down the road or whatever it is, City are having a terrible season as well. And if you look across Europe as well, all the top teams are dropping points. Serie A is competitive. Germany's competitive when they shouldn't be, because all those teams played, and PSG are not doing great in France either, because all those teams played longer, had less pre-season. And I think we always have in our mentality that these footballers, they get paid so much, they don't need time off, they're like whatever, they don't need a pre-season. When clearly it's shown that they do. They need, and like, we're only starting now to get a bit of defensive stability. We've had 2 clean sheets in a row, have we? No. Or at least conceding less. We're not conceding 6 anymore. So like, our defense is getting stronger. Just need to get the attack going, but it's about getting them going together and getting them playing together. Because I know Cardiff said the other night that it's like, once the defense is sorted, and then it's just getting the attackers used to playing with each other again, and then hopefully we can properly kick on from there, and then Donny will feel more comfortable being in the team and stuff like that. But I think it's just a case of getting stability and then trying to explore from there. But it's not just us. That's the thing. That's why I don't think it can be fully blamed on Solskjaer, because it's everywhere. It's every top team that's played out those extra few games in Europe. And we literally got nothing for it. We got knocked out in the semi-final, and then we end up losing to Palace. That's what our thing was for getting to the semi-finals. You know?
I think the word that I saw a lot of, Semps, was progress. The worrying over the lack of performances is the progress we're making as a squad. We're not kicking on. We take about 10 steps forward and then 8 steps back every time. And when Ollie needs a result, he gets a result. Sort of talking about the winning dirty, winning games by 1 goal, winning games 1-0, Semps. But I suppose the tricky situation here is that if Ollie does now go on a run of winning games, let's say ugly, grinding out results, getting us to a point in the new year where we're looking at that top 3, but potentially our performances are still all over the place. You can't really sack a manager for that, can you? So where do you go with the process in terms of making progress then?
No, you won't be sacked then. And to be honest, if he's grinding out results, then he deserves to keep his job, and that will probably get us in good stead for the next half of the season. That if we can then will give everybody confidence, we can then kick on like we did last season. The second half was much better, but to be honest, I just don't see that happening, because I think, like Joe was saying, that all the other teams in Europe are struggling. The problem is that we've seen certain teams in our league that are able to string results together. They are able to put in consistent performances. And even if we look at Spurs haven't been great this season. They've not been blowing teams away. They also struggled against West Brom. But what you're getting with Spurs is you're getting that variety. You're getting the performances that they put in against us 6-1 and battered us. You're getting the odd performances where they turn up really well. Then you're getting the performance like they put in against City on the weekend. So you can see the variety there. That's what I would like to see from Man United. I'd like to see some sort of variety, even in a game where we're not playing well, but we're dogged and we're defending well, and De Gea's not having shots to face. That's what I would like to see. And I'm just concerned, if I'm honest, Ben, that we're not making progress. Ollie's 100 games in charge now, and as I said, this isn't a slight on him or Ollie out or anything like that, but he has been in charge 100 games, and we're just not seeing any steps forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, John. I think a lot of people are saying that this season's a bit of an anomaly. I can't say that word, but obviously no pre-season, no fans, fixture congestion, international break, everything's just all over the place. Players coming back from COVID, like it's just, and also we had a summer from hell by the looks of it as well, not getting the players that he wanted. So are we harsh to judge the process or the progress now? Should we wait until the end of the season, actually see where we're at as a club before we sort of come to those conclusions, or do you think now's the time that actually we need to be kicking on? So if we're not making progress, then it needs to be called out.
For me, it's a bit of both. If I could sit on the fence with that question to some extent.
John, how
that shouldn't be allowed in the late night lock-in. That shouldn't be allowed.
You can't. If you had a couple of beers down your neck, you'd be giving your opinion. You'd be singing it.
I can't believe. I can't believe we're having a discussion about winning ugly in 1-0, an Irishman and great Irishman in the history of Man United, and we haven't mentioned John O'Shea 1-0 away to Liverpool 2007.
I can sing about that if you want. Okay. Yeah,
I can't.
That was the greatest ugly win. That was the greatest. Literally, Paul Scholes missed knocking Xabi Alonso out. I remember that. I remember John O'Shea coming on and me being like, "What? Like what?" And then the most poxy goal ever. Ronaldo fizzed it. What's his name? I think it was whoever was in goals, patted away, and then John O'Shea. I remember him. He did, Pepe Reina. He didn't know how to celebrate.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to, he just ran and then held hands with Rio Ferdinand. It was, and then it has the iconic image of Gary Neville being a child in Edwin van der Sar's arms.
Yeah,
and then into the away end. Yeah, that was at Anfield. They were good times. That was the best ugly win in history.
I know. I mean, we're being melancholic about the past, and I'm so desperate to do so, not just because of the book, but every time we go on social media, 50% of people are angry about the present, and the other 50% are yearning for the past. But anyway, bringing it back to the present, and your question regarding, and I was sitting on the fence, I do think we need to wait a little bit longer. I do think really that we can't really make a judgment on Solskjaer after a 1-0 ugly win at home to West Brom. Now, I know there's a lot of other evidence, we've spoken about that, but I do think that given the fact that if we win our game in hand, and I know it's a big if, we're going to be in the mix, arguably, at least in terms of points. So let's at least reserve judgment on this season until towards the end of this season rather than in November. So, I guess I'm erring more towards that. If Solskjaer wasn't a club legend, would I and many other United fans be questioning more? Well, I think we all know the answer to that question. But he is a club legend.
That's the right question.
Right, exactly.
That is.
So, listen, let's hold fire. That's what I'm saying. Let's hold fire for now. I'm not Ollie out, far from it. But it's not been great, that's for sure.
Suzanne says it's too early to judge. We're not even out of November yet. Yeah, let's wait and see. Joe, progress for me is winning a couple of trophies this season, or at least one of them, and finishing either third or higher if we can do. Especially, as I said, it's a weird and random season where we're only going to be 4 points off top spot if we win our game in hand. Like, that's bonkers. Also, I'd like to know if anyone knows this. Has there ever been a season where we've been 9 games in and the team at the top of the pile has dropped? Like, I think it's 8 points in their first 9 games. Usually at this point, you've got 2 or 3 clubs who have only lost a game or drawn a couple. There's so many points being dropped across the board at the moment. So I think that's an interesting thing to have a look at as well at some point. But Joe, are we still on course? I mean, we're in all competitions. We're looking all right in the cup competitions. In the league, we've had our wobble. Are we still looking all right to making progress on what we achieved last year, do you think?
No. I think I don't think the board wants Solskjaer. I think they're giving him this time, like they did with Mourinho, like they did with Van Gaal. I think he'll be gone. I put the date to 12th of December. I think that'll be his last game. And
that wasn't my question.
What? Are we making progress? Yeah, we're not.
No. My thing was, are we on point to potentially still win a trophy or do better in the league than we did last season?
Oh. No.
Why? We're still in the cups. How can you be negative about that?
No, I would give all of my children, which I don't have, for Solskjaer to manage us to a trophy this season, I would give each one of them. If you've
just given your future sperm away, mate. That's all. You've done on the show. You donated it to people.
Let's be honest, it's going to go to waste anyway.
God, there's one lucky viewer out there right now watching this show going, I stumbled across this by accident.
And it's going to be my mum. And it's like, I knew it. The one time I tried to invest in my son's future and he's talking about his sperm.
yeah. I'm proud of you, son. Yeah. No, but do you think a trophy and finishing in the top 3 is achievable this year?
Yes, I think it is achievable. I think, especially for the season that it is, I hope that is what happens. I would genuinely, being completely honest, and just even though it's the wrong way for a club, I would give a trophy over top 4. Just because I just want that on paper that no matter what happens with Solskjaer, he has silverware from being manager of Man United. So, we'll be in top 4 and out of top 4 as the years come and go. But I just want, I would love, I've said it to you before, Ben, if I could do anything to take that FA Cup off Louis van Gaal and give it to Solskjaer as manager, I would do that. Because I don't care about Louis van Gaal, but I care about Solskjaer having something he can put his hat to and be like, I did something as manager. And just saying, I got us top 4 and stabilized us. No one's going to care about that or write songs about that.
You just offered to give your sperm away, so I don't doubt that you do anything to take that FA Cup trophy and give it to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know what else you've got left to give, to be quite honest. I think we're going to have a rummage through your room. Anyway, Joe, can you find a stopwatch on your phone?
Yes,
because we're going to do My First United. Whilst Joe finds that, what I want you guys to do is check out the All for United channel, hit subscribe. We've had a fantastic Harry Gregg special go up today where myself, Patrick from the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation, Roy Kavanagh, MBE, and also Tom Clare, author and historian, jumped on with me to discuss the late hero of Munich, Harry Gregg. You've got to go and check that out on our channel if you get a chance. Right. It's a late night lock-in, so I thought we'd have a little bit of fun here, guys. We're going to do this on every show. Basically, Joe's going to put 60 seconds on the clock. I'm going to come to each of you, Semps and John, with a question, and it's all going to be after the phrase, My First United. Okay? So, for instance, My First United game that I saw. Semps, John, and you literally just have to answer the question with the first thing that comes to mind. We've got a couple of red herrings in there as well, so that you might have to think about it for a couple of moments. And then what we'll do, because we're going to be listening, it's the first thing that comes to mind. Joe's going to pick out a couple of highlights, which either of you have said, and we're going to dwell on it afterwards. So let's see how much Joe listens instead of paying attention to the stopwatch. Guys, feel free to get involved in the live chat.
Not on you, Semps, on me.
I'm ready. I'm there with you.
I'm ready and willing.
Right, okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Start that 60 seconds now. Right, so we'll come to you first. My First United game that you saw live. This could be in the stadium or it can be at home. That you on the
Wembley, Charity Shield, Man United versus Arsenal. Can't remember the year, but Ian Wright was playing and it was ages ago.
God, that's like a lottery. What about you, John? First United game you saw live?
Norwich away, 86-87. Ferguson's second game in charge.
Wow. Whoa, there we go. My First United thought, Semps. The first thing to come to mind when I say Man United for you.
Cantona scoring against Liverpool FA Cup.
Good one. What about you, John? First thought when I say Man United.
Passion.
Love that. Your first, Semps, your first United kit.
It was the grey, horrible grey one.
Oh, no.
Grey one.
10 seconds.
John, what about you?
My first one was the one in the middle with the shark.
You, Joe. John.
Oh, sorry, John.
United with the badge in the middle and white bits here. Ron Atkinson, 84-85, more or less.
I'm up. That's a minute.
What a kit. Do you know what? I'm going to do one more question for each of you because Joe decided to butt in and get involved in the feature. Then, let me come over to you. Your first United big signing. Who was the first big signing that you can remember that there's big hysteria about?
Oh, jeez, I can't remember that. Let me say Rooney, but it wouldn't have been that. But yeah, I can't remember first big signing.
John?
Brian McClare, and what a hit.
Oh, wow.
What a hit.
Yeah.
Wow. Go on, Joe. Any questions on the answers that the lads gave?
Yeah, I want to go to John with your first game, the second in Norwich, Carrow Road. Because obviously we won our first game. No, we lost our first game, didn't we? 3-1. Yeah, we lost Ferguson.
2-0 to Oxford. 2-0 to Oxford.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I remember these things.
I have no idea. I'm just making.
I don't remember that specific game.
Joe.
I remember the Norwich game I was at. Anyway, go on. Fire away with your question.
But with that, so obviously Ferguson had come up from Aberdeen. What age were you at the time, John?
I would have been 7. So yeah, 7, just over the age of 7. Yeah, just after.
So what can you remember from that game?
From the Norwich game, I remember it being awful, 0-0. We talk about winning ugly. Well, we drew ugly that day. I also remember my father, who wasn't really a football fan, and he was desperate to leave before the end of the match to beat the traffic.
Of course.
So I remember that and being frustrated with it. But in hindsight, 0-0, I guess it didn't matter so much. Little did I know what was going to come years later, that missing the last 2 minutes of matches could mean missing out on Champions Leagues and Premier League victories almost. Yeah. But they're the things I remember. Regarding that first game against Oxford, now I have to say I don't remember that game specifically, but I've read quite a bit about it since. And there's a great picture of Ferguson in the dugout, and he's kind of looking along the dugout to see who are there, assistant Archie Knox, physio, and he looks along the dugout and he sees the bus driver is in the dugout with him. And he's like, what is the bus driver in the dugout with the manager? And Ferguson made a decision that unfortunately the bus driver wasn't going to be in the dugout with him anymore after that.
Love that. That's a brilliant memory.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. That's amazing, the things you can learn. I never actually knew that.
There's a great picture of the bus driver there in the dugout. But yeah, I mean, my first game was a week later. Norwich away, and fairly nondescript actually.
John, when you were, sorry.
Joe, I was just going to say, do you know back in the day when the bus driver was in the dugout, some would say that Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't at the wheel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
That's a dad joke. That is such a dad joke.
Where is it again? Which way is it? No, there. He's meant to be the comedian pointing at Joe. I'm trying to point at Joe, but I don't know where he is. There we go.
Oh yeah, you've beaten me that time. Wow, you and your jokes, eh? Wow, what a laugh. Joe, I'll take over hosting duties, will I?
Shall I just disappear? Shall I leave you to
it? But John, I just wanted to ask you. So you started going to see games in the mid, like you were 7 years old in '86, but going to see that match. But for you, what was the peak going to see United? What was the best time for you going to see United play?
Oh, it's kind of predictable, I guess, but to say the 98-99 moments, those dramatic late winners. 07-08, I think was probably a better team, although again United fans may be split on that one. I would actually say the 07-08 team was the better team, and that's an argument we can have probably on another show. You could just do a show on the 98-99 versus 07-08 teams. But I think for drama, I mean, there's two really. But I also 92-93. 92-93, the culmination of that season. I was also at Carrow Road again. You
love that stadium.
Love Norwich, you do love Norwich.
I know. I was at Carrow Road 92-93, and we'd just beaten Sheffield Wednesday at home a couple of days before, or a few days before, in that dramatic late win. But I remember going to Carrow Road and knowing how things had gone wrong for us the year before, and we blew Norwich away in 20 minutes. And that was just that run into that season was pretty special.
Norwich were a great team back then as well.
Very good, very good.
They came third or fourth that season.
They came third that season, but it was a 3-way fight for the title going into the last 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess you could compare them to Leicester today. The only difference is, of course, Leicester actually got over the line, but Norwich were a consistent top 6 side, and in today's game they'd be in the Champions League, every other year for a few years. But yeah, we got to that culmination of that season and we won 6, 7, 8 games in a row. And given what had happened the year before, that was a pretty special time as well.
Semps, For yourself, what was your highlight of a game to see live?
Oh, live. I went to the Carling Cup final when Rooney. Who did we beat? Was it Aston Villa and Rooney scored? Yeah, it was Villa, wasn't it? Yeah. And Rooney.
With the header.
Yeah,
Was that,
yeah.
and
Rooney scored the
Villa
header.
scored a penalty. Yes. Yeah.
So that's the only cup final I've ever been to. So that was quite good because it was 1-1 at the time.
Because that
was at Wembley.
Wembley, would it?
Yeah,
Was that Wembley?
Yeah, it was at Wembley. Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
So,
Michael Owen scored as well.
Say that again.
Sorry, just quickly. Owen scored in that game. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Did Owen score in that game?
Owen scored. Yeah.
Yeah, we should have been a man down after. I can't remember.
Because Vidic,
I think it was. I think it was Rio Ferdinand. Was it Rio Ferdinand? I think it was.
No, it's Vidic. Vidic.
Was it Vidic? Yeah. Well, we should have been a man down. Yeah, we got the rubber, the green there. Lucky there was no VAR them days.
But even with VAR, we're getting rubber the green. Like we saw the match on Saturday, you know?
True.
You know what? We'll talk about VAR in a second, but I went to one game. I've been to one seen United play once at Wembley, and it was at the start of David Moyes' reign when we played in the Community Shield against Wigan. And I remember watching the game at Wembley and coming away thinking, I think we're going to be all right. We didn't play too badly today. And bloody hell was I wrong. So, yeah, that's my one Wembley memory.
Didn't we beat, was it Swansea? We beat 4-0 on the first day. 4-1.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, everything's going to be fine.
On the opening day.
Everything's going to be
away
fine.
from home as well. Yeah.
I was talking to my brothers thinking, well, everybody's worrying. What are they worrying about?
Thank goodness we weren't all doing fan channels then. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? VAR, I just want to have a quick discussion because Joe's got his ultimate fan quiz coming up. Stay where you're at because you can get involved with this in the live chat. And by the way, Semps and John, I hope you don't have the live chat open. So if you do, make sure it's closed or if you're on your StreamYard, move over to a different screen. But I just want to quickly hit on VAR. And John, for you, look, there were some questionable decisions at the weekend. Some would say I still don't think it was a penalty kick from Bruno's challenge, but still we move on. For you, is VAR working? Do you like having VAR involved in the game, John?
I mean, that, as you said, is a separate question to what happened at the weekend. I mean, in short, no. And I'll tell you why from the fans' point of view, and it doesn't matter who you support. When goes in, or when it's nearly a goal, you know that you get when the heart is in the mouth, when you're dreading the moment and that drama of the goal going in or not going in, and sometimes you breathe a huge sigh of relief when the ball doesn't go in, or the other way around, your heart just sinks dramatically when it goes in. And of course, you can reverse all of those emotions to when you score a goal, and that. Imagine Sheringham, 99 equaliser, or Solskjaer, 60 seconds later. The drama that was provided in those two goals. Okay, now don't get me wrong. You've got 2 or 3 seconds if you can look at the linesman. But once you see that linesman, Sheringham, first thing he does is he looks quickly across, sees the linesman's flag's not up. We're equalised. We're back in the game. Solskjaer scores the winner. And the drama that you had in that 90 seconds, 60 seconds was, probably the best 60 or 90 seconds as a United fan for many of us. Imagine with VAR. Now, it just dilutes it. I got it, and I understand the necessity to have VAR for goal line decisions and over the line, not over the line. But my feeling on this is that it's taken some of the fun away. And I know we have this drive for consistency and for accuracy, but we're still having some of that today. Okay, and secondly, if you want football to be 100% pure, and the best team always wins and the worst team always loses, well, you need to change the rules of the game dramatically, because the amount of times that we're talking about stealing 1-0 wins or games you didn't win and didn't deserve to, or red card. I mean, listen, you get a red card, and then the next 2 or 3 games that guy's suspended, but you're not rewarded by the guy getting red card. It's the next 3 opponents. So there's so many things, home and away, referee performances. There's so many anomalies with the game, and we mustn't forget that the game. And I know this is a bit romantic to say, but it's about the fans ultimately. Okay, It really is. And yes, we want to be as close to having the right decision as we possibly can. We do want that. But ultimately, it needs to be a spectacle, and it needs to have those heart-in-the-mouth moments, whether you're about to score a goal or save a goal or concede a goal. And without it, football is the same.
Yeah, no, very, very good points there, John. Semps, I'll bring the same question over to you. I mean, there seems to be drama every weekend about VAR. So where are you at as a fan? I mean, because we're all watching, I think, more and more from home right now, we sort of forget how it didn't work with fans in the stadium. They've made some improvements, bringing on, telling the refs to go and have a look on the screen pitch side now as well. For you, has that made any improvements to VAR?
It seems to be causing even more problems now. They said that, I listened to Peter Walton in our game or afterwards saying that by telling the referee to go to the monitor, put him under more pressure because he's then thinking that he's made a mistake. Where I am with this all now is that if VAR was to go tomorrow, I wouldn't miss it. And I understand the reason it was brought in. And I was thinking, we need VAR. But I think the goal line technology is brilliant as it is already. And VAR just seems to be causing more problems than good. I think where this is meant to be brought in to clear up loads of decisions, we're still getting those same decisions. So like what John was saying, you've got the sort of the excitement factor taken away from when you score a goal or not score a goal and all of that side of things. That's been taken away. But on top of it, we're still getting the issues with decision making. It's still subjective. They still can't make the decision. So you might as well just leave it in the hands of the referee. As human beings, we make mistakes, we learn from them, we keep it moving. So I just reckon that we just go back to the way it would be good. It's not going to happen, but it would be good to just go back to the way that it was now, because we're not, also with everything new, there's going to be teething problems. So we should have all expected problems coming into this, but I don't see there being any improvements going forward. So yeah, as I said, if it was to go tomorrow, I wouldn't miss it.
I think we were all expecting problems, weren't we? But just not this many. Just thrown open the whole rule book as well to interpretation. It's like, were the rules really not this clear in the first place? It's all a little bit baffling.
Just to make a point though, that the handball side of things though, I'd like to just make a point that is not VAR, that is the rules. So alongside 100%. VAR, we've got a problem with the way the rules are, and that also then needs to change as well. So yeah, some of it is not always VAR; it's also the rules that we're playing to.
Yeah, Stuart's just put a comment in saying VAR is still subjective, which is the problem. And Jacob says hundreds of goals have been ruled out pre-VAR and referee and lino discussions or late flags. But again, that's two professionals having a conversation. You're intervening with technology. Surely the only reason why people should intervene with technology is to show that something is 100% wrong. I think. I don't think if it's down to interpretation, there's no need to, so to speak, get involved. But I do want to just quickly, without going too much into this, just each of you, I just want to go over the VAR decisions that happened in our game over the weekend and see where you are at with them. So just simple yes or no's. So Joe, for our penalty, handball penalty, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Semps?
No, because there was a foul in the build-up.
So you think it should have been brought back by VAR to give
if going by the new VAR rules, it should have been.
John?
Penalty.
Handball. And what about then? What about?
I think it's handball in any generation.
Yeah. What about in the tackle on the pull on the shirt of Martial, Joe? Should that have been a penalty to United?
I don't remember that. So yes, it would be.
Yes, do you think it was a penalty?
Yeah. He's pulled his shirt outside the box. It's a free kick. So therefore, inside the box, it should be a penalty.
John, should that have been a spot kick?
I'm erring towards what Sem said, but I'm sure if I was a West Brom fan, I'd have a different opinion.
Yeah. So then, what about the Bruno tackle? Should West Brom have had a penalty? Joe?
Yes.
Semps?
Yes.
John?
Oh, I'm going no.
Yeah, I'm no as well.
I got my red spectacles on.
Yeah, I mean, look, we won't jump into. I think I've made clear my reasons on all the reds and why I don't think that was a penalty. But also, I can see again, it's down to interpretation. VAR shouldn't. There should be no interpretation if VAR is being used. VAR then should not have been used if it was down to interpretation, because you're just spurring a decision to be made or a change in decision to be made. Anyway, right, let's move on from VAR. Let's get you two really competitive. I would ask you to trash talk, but you're two nice people, and I don't think you're going to do that to each other. So, Joe, I'm going to hand over to you.
Everything, and so I don't see how I'm going to beat this guy.
Sem's mom is watching. That's why he's being so polite.
Is that it?
Yeah. Okay, guys.
So I don't see how I'm going to beat this
guy. Some echo in.
I think I'm John.
Sorry, carry on. Go on, Joe.
How did that happen?
We're ready to go. Okay, guys. Because we're doing the quiz and because we have John on for our opening one as well, and he's written a book about Alex Ferguson defeats, I have done 3 questions. You get 3 questions each on the manager's post Ferguson. So if you're ready, that's for Kojo. Sorry. Question 1. John, you're going to get questions from side A. Semps, you're going to get questions from side B. All right. So, John, your first question in the Louis van Gaal section. Mm-hmm. Louis van Gaal, what was his highest scoring victory in the Premier League? Name the team and the result.
Oh, bloody hell.
Louis van Gaal's highest scoring victory in the result.
Whilst you're thinking, guys, get in the comments if you want to play along. Semps and John can't see your answers. So if you want to get in the comments and play along, please do. Semps and John, we're trusting you're not going to cheat. Go on, John.
Is this in the Premier League?
Premier League only, yep.
Okay, I'm going to go with...
As he froze.
We must have done better than 4. I just remember 4-2 at home to Man City, but we must have won a game by more than 2 goals. I mean, that's what I'm going to go with. Man City at home 4-2, but we must have won by 3 goals.
That was our highest score. That was the most goals we had in the game. Joint, it was actually, we beat QPR 4-0, Angel Di Maria's debut.
Yes.
You were wrong, but you were closely wrong. We'll see. I'll give you that.
I thought the question was, what was our biggest win against Man City? Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's my fault for not enunciating. Semps, to take the lead. In the same sort of question, but the opposite. And this is in all competitions. Who is Louis van Gaal's biggest defeat against? The scoreline and the team, please. Ben got this right in our messaging beforehand. This is how embarrassing he should be.
Straight away.
Yeah. He literally screamed it on WhatsApp.
Biggest defeat. So I'm gonna draw a blank. I can't think.
In all competitions, you're...
Don't have a guess.
You literally would kick yourself for not getting it.
Go on, hit me with it.
Yeah, it's 4-0 against MK Dons, formerly Wimbledon.
They battered us. And by the way, Sam, do you remember the game?
I didn't actually watch it, to be honest.
Didn't
Delhi play that game?
Delhi played that game, and I was going to give you a point if you could get 5 players who are in our starting lineup that game, because it was mind-boggling the team we put out that day, like mind-boggling. And De Gea is the only player still at the club. Well, Pereira's on loan, but De Gea is the only player still at the club from that team, that squad even.
That's our fun fact. Moving on. Okay, 0 points so far. Great going, guys. You're really showing your knowledge and impressing everyone in the comments who are going crazy. We're moving on to Joe.
In the comments, did anybody get?
Yes.
In the comments?
Yeah.
Kojo got 1. He got 1 right, wrong as well though, Kojo. But he'll improve for the second round.
Question. Jacob got MK Dons.
Jacob got MK Dons. Yeah. John, how are you feeling?
Not great. A bit like watching the Louis van Gaal team, to be honest with you.
Well, we're moving on to Mourinho now. How many seasons has Jose managed in the Premier League?
Can you repeat, sorry?
How many seasons has Jose managed in the Premier League?
How many seasons with Man United did he manage in the Premier League? Or how many
in the Premier League altogether?
Altogether. Are we
that is
including
a tough
half
one.
a season with Chelsea?
I think it's like, the answer is full season, as in like there's no halves. So I'm guessing so.
I mean,
because if you calculate it, he had half a season at United, so that probably makes up the.
Yeah.
And he had half a
And
season at United. I mean, listen, I can tell you the seasons he started in the Premier League. He would have started, his first season in the Premier League was 04-05. So 04, 6. He also started 07-08, but then got fired. So if you count those 4 as seasons he began, then yeah, so that's like 3.5. But he actually began those 4 seasons, and then he was at Chelsea for 2 seasons. When they won, it was 13-14. Gerrard slipped, and then they won the league. They won the league the next season. So that's 6 seasons he began, but he got fired halfway through one. He then got fired halfway through his 3rd season at Chelsea, but he did start that season. And then he had 2 full seasons at Man United. So I guess that's 9 before getting sacked midway through his 3rd season, just like he did with Chelsea. And he's had 12 months at Spurs, I guess. So it depends on your terminology there, but I've got it all down for you. I mean, it's 10 seasons arguably, but there's a couple where he got fired halfway through.
So your final answer?
I mean, how many seasons did he start as manager of a Premier League team?
I'm going to have to push you for an answer here.
9.
This is
Stuart's gone for 8.
This is from PremierLeague.com, so no one get mad at me, but the answer is 12, and Kojo got it right. Yeah.
12?
That's from the PremierLeague.com. Kojo got it right.
I had 9, and if I was going to get a chance to steal, I would have said 10.
Yeah. So John 0 from 2. We're going to you, Semps. Who was Jose Mourinho's very first opponent in his very first Premier League match?
God's sake.
Oh, that's a question, that. Do you know this one, John?
John knows it.
He does.
His first ever now. Not at United, his first ever.
Yeah. I know other things about the game as well.
It sounds like you've got loads of dirty secrets in the way you said that. I know other things about him too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just take a stab. Just say
any manager. Say Sam Allardyce and help yourself.
Say a team. Say it's a team, not a manager. It's a team.
Oh, you said manager.
No, I said who was his first ever team that he played against in the Premier League ever.
Said manager. Okay,
it was for Chelsea.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say Tottenham.
The answer, Sems, is Manchester United.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Idrigo Johnson, 1-0.
Premier League debut.
No.
Yeah.
Alan Smith's Premier League debut. 1-0. We lost.
Okay, guys, this is going wonderful for you two. Don't worry, there's a tiebreaker at the end to find out who was the least worst of the two of you. And don't worry, Sems, you can actually give an answer for this last round because it's multiple choice for both of you.
By the way, that's true as well. Jacob just got in touch. I think Avram Grant's first game after Jose left was against us too.
And we won 2-0. Stewie Sal scored a penalty. John, to take the lead, multiple choice in this one. How many Premier League managers of the month has Ollie won? Is it 1, 2, or 3?
Oh my gosh.
God.
I'm gonna go 1.
You're sticking with 1?
Oh,
you sure?
See, I would have gone 3.
I would say 2.
Well, I can say I can say the person who got that right is John has a point on the board. Yes. Yes.
This is where we need some sound effects. The pressure is on.
Damn you, John. Damn you.
Semps, to level it up and to bring it to a tiebreaker. What is Ollie's goal difference at United in overall in all his games? Is it plus 10, plus 13, or plus 15? What is Ollie's goal difference? Plus 10, plus 13, plus 15.
Okay. All right.
True, Kojo.
Do you know what? He's got a really good defensive record, actually. If you go
I'm
through,
gonna go plus 13.
plus 13.
You're gonna stick with plus 13? Are you sticking with plus 13?
That's my final answer.
Well, I can say that John is the winner. It was plus 15.
Oh, well done, John.
A dirty 1-0 victory.
That's how it's done. That's how you win trophies, John.
Yeah.
We're sticking to the narrative today of 1-0 victory.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy with that.
You couldn't make it up.
Any day.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What a show. Joe, what a quiz, mate. That was brilliant. That proper played on the mind, that one.
Yeah. I'll be back Friday.
Mate, can't wait. Friday night, we'll be back with Roy Kavanagh, MB. He's going to be here chatting to us. Cannot wait to chat to Roy. And Radio Gaz himself, Gaz Drinkwater, is going to jump on with us as well this coming Friday. So make sure you join us at 10 o'clock for the late night lock-in. Subscribe to the channel, hit a like on this video. Go check out Semps. John, where can people get your book, mate?
Amazon, all the regular ones. Amazon, you can get it on in Waterstones, in shop. Certainly on Deansgate. A friend of mine took a picture of it at the shop on Deansgate in Manchester the other day. WH Smith, and also from Pitch Publishing, the wonderful publishers who agreed to help me with my book.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on, John. Really appreciate it. Semps Views TV official. That's where people can go and find more from you, right?
Yeah, or at Semps on Twitter. But yeah, man, that's me. Come and check me out if you want to hear some facts.
Facts, fiery facts, and mum talk as well. Semps has got a very popular podcast.
Always, but all round positive energy. That's what I'm about. All round positive energy and vibes.
Love that, mate. And talking about positive energy and vibes, me and Joe here at All for United all the time. It's all about positivity, and we'll be back Friday night at 10 o'clock. Speak to you guys soon. Cheers, Joe, mate. Take it easy.
See you later, guys. Thanks very much.
Have a good week, guys.